excited today because we are going to be talking about all of my favorite books of all time. These are all of the recommendations that whenever I get asked for a book rec of really any genre, I always say something from this list that I'm about to talk about. So hopefully you leave this video with at least adding a couple more books to your TBR or just hearing about all of my favorites. We have a lot of books to get into. This is only half of them. The other half is on the ground. I'm going to try to kind of rapid fire them as well, not talk about any of them too much in depth. So I'm not going to give like a whole plot summary, but I'm going to tell you why I love them, why I think you would like them, and just give you a gist so that you know if you're going to want to add it to your TBR. So let's get into it. We are going to start with my girl, Miss Emily Henry. I could not start this video of my favorite books of all time without starting with her. I love all of her books. I will always recommend any of her books. I have read her entire discography, and she is a auto-buy, auto-read author for me. Probably my favorite author of all time. Her and Sarah J. Maas, obviously. But my favorite book of like all time, I feel like it's hard for me to say my favorite of anything with like favorite movie, favorite show. It's really hard. I'm a type of person where it's really hard for me to pick a favorite, but with books, nothing has ever lived up to Happy Place for me. Why I love this book so much is because it feels so deeply personal. It feels like Emily Henry just like took stories from my brain, took it out, and threw it into this book, which is just crazy. I have so many things highlighted that I just go through all the time. It's a beautiful story of like love and friendship and nostalgia and the fear of growing up and changes as you're growing up and long-term relationships and how complicated that gets and how complicated friendship is growing into your adult age. This book just will always mean so much to me. Even if you don't relate to it, it's still just like a beautiful, sweet story of friendship, and it's set in a beautiful coastal town in Maine, and it's so good. But I think just the reason why it connects to me so much is I heavily relate to it. So I hope there's some book in here that you guys will find that you think you'll relate to, because I think that's when books just do the most, and like that's like the meaning of them at the end of the day, is to find people that can take emotions and thoughts from your brain and put them into words, and you're like, how did someone think of this and put this into words? And that's how I feel about Happy Place. And then we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. This was the book that I think completely got me back with being obsessed with reading. I had read like a bunch of Colleen Hoover books and some other just like popular book talk books in like 2020, getting back into reading and everything. But I think this was the book that like switched that switch in my brain to make me just utterly obsessed with reading and being like, oh wow, like this is what it can do to your heart and soul. And the name of this book being called Beach Read just does not do it justice at all. I can like just look at this book and instantly feel like that warm, cozy, emotional feeling that this book gives you. It's like so visceral to me for some reason, and I can think of like the exact spot I was and I binged the end of this book. Emily Henry always just has like such beautiful romance, but with kind of like women's fiction that are so deeply emotional and leave you with so much to think about, leave you feeling so validated in your emotions. Like I said with Happy Place, the plots are just so good. These characters I love so much, and they're both bookish people, which is really fun. There's so many quotes. The one quote that I like literally will never forget, it's like deeply ingrained in my brain, is, when I watch you sleep, I feel overwhelmed that you exist. I feel like I know exactly where it is in the book. I just have so many things dog-eared in this book before I even knew about like highlighting and annotating, but that quote is so good. I just love them. Like, these are my friends in here in this book, and I need to do a reread of this soon actually. Now, a bit of a switch up. I have to talk about the ACOTAR series, Court of Thorns and Roses. If you don't know what ACOTAR is, if you are in the book community, you've definitely heard about this series too much. You're over it, you're sick of it, you know, you've already read it, you love it, you know it. Anyways, if you're not in the book community and you're clicking on this video to just get good general book recs, you need to read this. And even if you think you're not a fantasy reader, you need to read this. It will change your life. It is a masterpiece and so good. It is romantasy, and the plot of these is so good. The romance in these is so good. The found family, the world building, everything about it, unreal. It's like the blueprint romantasy. And these started my like deep dive of loving fantasy. I think they were like the perfect intro. And I've always loved fantasy stuff my whole life though, like Harry Potter, The Hobbit, all of that. But this just This just did it to me. I don't need to go more into this, but just read it. It will change your life. And as much as I love ACOTAR, the only thing a step better than it is the Throne of Glass series. I'm not holding up all the books in this series. It is an 8-book series. ACOTAR is a 5-book series. I wasn't holding up all of those either. My life has been forever changed since reading the Throne of Glass series in a way I cannot explain. And I also can't really summarize the plot to you at all of this series without giving a lot away, since it is an 8-book series. The first like 3 books to like the rest of the series is completely different. It does such a switch in the best way. There's not one book that is bad, and it's not one of those series where I'm like, oh, just wait to get into it. No, it is all good. The way that Sarah J Maas's mind works, I will never understand. Everything that she writes has a purpose, and it all comes back and in full circle by the end of the series. You are pulling from everything, and it just all ties together in a way where I'm like, I see her like planning out her books with like the Criminal Minds like boards where everything connects, and I don't know how she does it. Her mind blows me away. I wish I could just like sit and reread this series always. It is that good. The world building and storyline development is crazy. It's honestly unmatched. It's unlike anything I've ever read before. And really just these characters will stick with you forever. There's really not a week that goes by that I don't think about this series in some way. I miss these books every day. So please read them. As you can tell, I am obsessed. Now we're going to talk about the Boys of Tommen series. It is a series of found family and a friend group that you're following. The first 2 books you're following Shannon, and then the next 2 books you're following her brother, and then the other 2 books you follow more people in the friend groups. You get a little bit of everyone. And the series is like so pain and trauma. I would recommend looking up what these books are about and like trigger warnings and everything before you get into them, because there is a lot of crazy topics that they dive into, but it is also so sweet and the romance is so cute at the same time. It is just very complex, and seeing like the inner workings of their whole friend group and the interconnectedness of the relationships that they all have with one another is so good. And it is just like way deeper than just romance books. It may not have like the best writing ever, I will say that. It is like a tad bit Wattpad-y, but like in the best way ever, and it's just so many things happen. And I just love Shannon and the male main character so much in the first books, and I'll always think about them. The next book that I am always recommending to everyone is The Nightingale. The Nightingale is about 2 sisters who are living in France during the Holocaust, during World War II, everything that's going on, and it is such an inspirational, moving story of how women impacted the war and what they did behind the scenes. Such a like vivid and heartbreaking story. It taught me a lot more things about World War II, even though it's historical fiction. You just really feel like you're with these sisters through all of the horrible things that they had to go through during this. If you don't like historical fiction, or if you think you don't like historical fiction, I urge you to try to read The Nightingale or just any Kristen Hanna book in general. I really feel like it'll change your perspective. Another very, very popular book that I also love so much is the Fourth Wing series, or it's called the Empyrean series, but particularly the first book, Fourth Wing, is the book I recommend to everyone, especially someone who is looking to get into fantasy. It is so amazing. I love this world so much. I love the characters. It is so fast paced. Like, this is probably one of the most addicting books I have ever read. It really just has like everything you want in a fantasy book. Enemies to lovers, high stakes, dragons, high stakes trials that the characters have to go through. This world is just perfect. You've probably seen or heard a lot about this too, so I won't go on for too long, but put this on your TBR if you haven't read it. And next we have the Chestnut Springs series. These are interconnected standalones, and there's 5 of them. Let me make sure. There's 5 of them, but these 2 are my favorite, Reckless and Powerless and Heartless. But they are all so good. They are small town cowboy-ish romances. It follows all family members and their love interests. You get a little sneak peek of everyone and like how they're doing in the other books, which is so awesome to see them keep progressing. And these just make me so happy. Something about them is just like warm and cozy. If I know that I don't want to use my brain, or I've read a bunch of fantasy books and I just need to have something a little bit more relaxing, like a before bed kind of book, these are exactly what I go to. I know that Elsie Silver's writing will just like never let me down. It is so heartwarming and makes you giggle, and the romance is so good. There is just something about like her writing and banter. They're just a silly, good, fun time, and they'll have you kicking your feet. And my favorite one specifically is Powerless because it's a bit more emotional than the other ones, which I love. And the boy in here is an NHL player, so that's also fun. Really, any Elsie Silver book I recommend. Her new series, which I think it's called the Rose Hill series, that's also really good too. Those are also interconnected standalones. Anything Elsie Silver, I'm always recommending. The next books that I'm going to talk about are from the Magnolia Park series, but specifically the Daisy Haites books are the books that I love so much from them. Basically, the Magnolia Park series has books that follow Magnolia Parks and Daisy Haites, but I really love the Daisy Haites books. I always explain this, and I've probably, if you watch any of my other videos where I talk about Magnolia Parks, I always just say it's like Gossip Girl but in London, but 10 times more drama and crazy things that happen. But the reason that I love them is they are just like so poetically beautiful. The way that Jessa Hastings can put all of the emotions that come with having love and admiration for someone into words is wild. Like on every page I have something highlighted. There is just such beautiful writing in these. They're also so entertaining. This also kind of follows a friend group and family members, so I do really love found family friend groups in books. If you love drama, reality TV, or beautiful writing, anything like that, definitely put these on your TBR. Now I'm going to talk about Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez has quickly become I was gonna say she's quickly become one of my favorite authors, but I don't think I can say that because this is the only book I've read by her. But I've held off on reading Just for the Summer and the other books in this like interconnected series because I just know that I'm going to love them so much, particularly Just for the Summer. I've seen so many quotes from that book that like blow my breath away. So I just need to read it at the perfect time. Does anyone else get that way with books? Like a book you know you're gonna love, like I just cherish it and save it for like the perfect time to read it. That's besides the point. I am obsessed with this book because the man in this book I relate to so much. It has the best representation of anxiety I've seen in really any piece of media ever. The whole book just really encompasses the idea of like to be loved is to be seen and understood, and I love that so much. It's really about like taking the time to get to know someone and how their brain works to be able to love them in the best way possible, which is just so beautiful. Just like heart squeezing romance, but also with such great fun banter and funny things happen, but also that like emotional depth lying underneath everything. So I love this so much and I can't wait to read more of her books. Next we have Powerless, which is another first book in a fantasy series. This is just everything that I love in a fantasy book. It's enemies to lovers, Hunger Games like trials, so much tension. The romance is so good and like it is the perfect slow burn. And the plot is really good. I just had so much fun reading it. I binged this. It was so addicting, so page turning. Plot twists were crazy. Just ate this up, really. I do think that the fantasy world and like the magic system in this is so interesting, but really I can just like say no wrong about this book. I feel like it is like the perfect formula of what I like in a fantasy romance book. I can't really say the same about the next books in this series so far. I did really enjoy them, but like this book alone is perfect to me. The next two books I'm going to talk about are not in a series, they're not connected at all, but I feel like why I love them is pretty much the same, so I'm going to talk about them together. It is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune and Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. These books are both second chance, friends to lovers, beach house, and those are all of my favorite tropes. These tropes are like the kinds of books I've read since I was a child. Something about them just gets me every single time. I love childhood friends to lovers. I love a beach house, a good summer read. And these are them. Love in Other Words is so sweet and emotional, and like the history behind the couple in this book is truly unmatched. If you love romance, this is like a basic you need to read. It is so cute, so heartwarming and just cute. And then Every Summer After shows a bit more of like the complex sides of being childhood friends to lovers, and it really just shows how messy like love and friendship can be. It's not crazy messy like drama, it's just realistic and more raw and real. I was obsessed with these characters, and the summer vibes in this were really good. I just like loved this romance. The tension was great, all of that. Highly recommend both of these. Next book I'm going to talk about is Archer's Voice. And this is just a book that was so sweet and just made me have that 5-star feeling the entire time I was reading it. I did read this in like 2021. I definitely probably need to reread this, but at the time this was just everything to me. It's definitely way deeper than just any romance and like kind of soul crushing. It also has like some like not mystery, like thrilling elements to it. I don't want to give anything away, but like there's a bit of like thrilling things that go on in here and your heart is pounding, and like there's crazy plot twists, but it's also just really like romance at the base of it. Really sweet, wholesome romance. There's just a lot in here that I was not expecting at all. So I will always recommend this. It's just like a perfect, fast, gripping read. Then we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. Whenever I talk about this book, I say that it being called summer romance really just does it an injustice. It is not just a silly summer romance at all. I had something underlined from like every single page in this book. The writing was so beautiful, and you can just tell that she is so purposeful with every single word and sentence that she says in this book. I just left this book with like having so much to think about, tears running down my face. We're kind of just mainly following characters who are in a very like transitional phases in their life. They're learning and growing and healing. This is just what I want in romances. I feel like you can tell at this point in the video that what I want from a romance is to feel something so deeply and like have something that really connects to me and that I relate to, and this definitely did that. It was just lovely, and something about a small town beachy romance just feels like a warm hug to me, and that was this for sure. And last but definitely not least, some Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I don't know why like that's hard for me to say right now. Taylor Jenkins Reid books. Anyways, obviously we're at the end of this long video with how I'm speaking. I've read most of her books. I just haven't read like her most recent two ones, the one about tennis. I think I just haven't read the one about tennis, honestly. But my favorite books by her are One True Loves and Daisy Jones and the Six. Daisy Jones and the Six is a book that everyone borrows from me because it's so popular and amazing, so I don't have that physical copy with me right now. Her writing is so amazing, and she is an amazing author. I'll give just like quick summaries of both of them. I feel like for One True Loves, I can just give you a quick synopsis and you'll automatically add it to your TBR. It says it on the back of the book, so this isn't spoiling anything, but it is about a woman who falls in love with her high school sweetheart, move out to like California together, they get married. He is like a big adventurer, so he goes on some like boat trip or helicopter trip. Either way, he gets lost out at sea on an island and she thinks he's dead. So she moves on, finds a new fiance, and then she gets a call one day, like 5 years down the road after she's been with this new fiance of hers, that her high school sweetheart is still alive. And that's where the book begins. So it's so crazy, and it just makes you think about a lot and like how big decisions like can change your life's course, and just like focusing on what really works for you in your life with like the partners that you choose and everything. It's amazing. So that's this. And then Daisy Jones and the Six is like one of the most unique books that I have ever read, and it's also a show now, so you could watch the show after, but the storyline, the formatting is just all so unique. It follows a fictional band that actually feels so real. It's loosely inspired by Fleetwood Mac, but it's not actually Fleetwood Mac, but it follows a band that like gets their start in the 60s. The 60s or the 70s? And like their big come up to be the like next big new band. I really just felt so connected to all of the characters. Why the formatting is so unique of this book is it's written like if you were interviewing them, so you get all the different characters' perspectives. The thing that it really just like leaves you thinking about is like it was so cool how all of the different characters' perspectives were intertwined and how they all had like something different to say about all of the experiences that they shared, and how like there's no like real truth because everyone experiences like a different reality and a different truth to their own perspectives. So that was so interesting and what that book really left me with. But I really just like couldn't believe it was about a fictional band. It felt so real. Really recommend that. And Also, just watch the show. The show's really good too. Those are all of the books that I'm going to be talking about today. I have definitely done enough yapping about books for one video. I hope that you bought some book to add to your TBR or heard my opinion on a book that you also love. These are all of the books that I'm like recommending all the time, so I thought it would be great to just put them all in one video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with another video.